Hello there, fans, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Friday edition before the big game on Sunday, the Packer game, Packers and Bears. And we all know this is a big game. I mean, this is like our Super Bowl, because honestly, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. We all know that. But if we could beat the Packers at least once, I'd like to beat them twice this year. It would be great because it is time to turn that ship around. The last 20 years, they've been throwing us around like we're a bunch of rags. And I, quite honestly, am done with it. I don't know about you guys, but I want to win on Sunday. So, we are going to talk. I'm just going to give a few stats, not much, because there is really no reason, because we know that they beat us in most categories. They really do. So the Bears are 3-2. Green Bay's 4-1. Now we could change that, and if the Bears win, we'll be tied with Green Bay. So we'd both be 4-2 tomorrow on Monday. Would that be awesome? The Bears and Green Bay have played 202 times. I think that's the most in the NFL. They have, and they have also had 2 playoff games. The Bears have 95 wins, and of course, Green Bay is 101. And that is about to change. All right. Rodgers, he's thrown for 1,241 yards. Not as good as the quarterback we faced last week because he had 1,400. But he has thrown 10 interceptions. 10 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So he has thrown interceptions this year, and he's been sacked 10 times. So I hope the Bears are chomping at their lips to get him. Yeah, baby. Their running back, Jones, has 309 yards so far, 2 touchdowns. Their main wide receiver, Dante Adams, has 579 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, they've got some offense weapons, no doubt about it. Their defense has sacked the opponents 10 times. They have 5 interceptions and 3 fumbles. So, and I'm just going to give you the stats for the Bears, and then we'll kind of compare here. So Fields, but he's only played 2.5 games, and that Cleveland game has a lot to do with his yards only being 458. So that's not a lot of yards with 1 touchdown, which he got last week. But it's been 2.5 games, and I believe that Laser in the last 2 games has tried to, he's giving them opportunities to throw the ball, but he's also making it plays that he can complete. So he's calling plays that he knows for a young rookie, he can complete these. Plus, we have a line that is not that great. So, Laser's being careful with them. So as the year goes on, the yards will go up, and next year it'll be a lot different because he is still green. So he's only got 1 touchdown, as we know he got last week. He also has a rushing touchdown. He has thrown 2 interceptions, 1 less than Mr. Rodgers, and he's been sacked 14 times, which we know 9 of them were in that Cleveland game. So that means our line has gotten better. Our rushing, well, I didn't say 1 because David Montgomery's out. So between David Montgomery, who is number 32, Williams, who's number 8, and Herbert, who's 24, we have 634 yards total rushing. So the Bears, and then our wide receiver, Mr. Mooney, leads the team with 261 yards. Our defense has 18 sacks, which leads the league, I may add you. So they've got 4 interceptions and 3 fumbles. So the interceptions and fumbles are virtually the same for the defenses, but we've got way more sacks, okay? Let's see. So the only 3 areas that the Bears are better on paper is points allowed by the defense. They've only allowed 100 points. Green Bay has allowed their opponents 122 points. So we got them there. The Bears, we've got them on the rushing yards. We have a total of 634, as I said. Their rushing yards are 503. So we've got them beat in that category. So those two categories we're better at. And sacks. We have 18. They do not. So, and then, but everything else is, anything with Aaron Rodgers is way better. Their defense is very good, too. They're getting better and better every week. So I didn't want to do a lot of stats because we know. We know that Green Bay has beaten us so many times. So over the last 20 years. So there's real no point in reliving those nightmares. So let's just talk about getting this bus turned around and start a new era with the Bears and the Fields against Green Bay. What do you guys say? Rock and roll. So the bottom line is here. I always talk about how the Bears could beat the other team, and a lot of it's the same I say every week. But the bottom line is the Bears, to beat Green Bay, number one, have to win the time of possession. Hands down have to, because that keeps Rodgers off the field. And Rodgers off the field means they're not scoring points. Simple as that. And, of course, it helps our defense, the rest. And we have to be able to rush the ball. Now, as you know, or don't know, number 8, our starting running back behind Montgomery, who went down, is out with COVID. He's on the COVID list, which really pisses me off. So he's not being careful, and that makes me mad because it's important. The main running back went down. Now you are it, and then you go and get exposed to COVID. What the hell? God. So now Herbert, number 24, will be our number 1 running back. Although Herbert had more yards than Williams did last week. So I like Herbert, number 24, a lot, so I'm really hoping that Laser and the Bears' offensive line can give him the opportunity to run. If we can have over 100 yards in rushing on Sunday, we'll have a good chance of beating Green Bay. That means we're keeping the offense off. We're keeping Rodgers off the field. So it's really huge. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to use our tight ends again to help the line, which then that limits our fields for who we can throw to, which it's kind of unfortunate because we have some good tight ends. And if our line wasn't so bad, we wouldn't need the tight ends for blocking. They could be out there doing what they're supposed to be doing and catching the ball. So we'll see what happens. And then, of course, our defense has to be relentless. Our defensive line and linebackers have to be relentless. They have to be in Rodgers' face all day. I mean, no quarterback likes to be sacked and rushed, but Rodgers really gets frustrated. If it continues and continues and continues and it's relentless, I guarantee he's going to throw at least one interception and he's going to get all pissed off. And when he gets pissed off, he don't play well. So the Bears, like they did last week with Carr, they've got to be in his face all day, and they've got to step it up. I know they were pretty damn good last week, and it sounds like a lot, but they've got to do it. It's the only chance. Because if Rodgers has any time to throw, he's going to eat up our backfield. Our cornerbacks and our safeties are not good this year. That is a huge problem for the Bears. So as I've mentioned during many shows this season, I say our defensive line and our linebackers are so important because if they can do what they can do and they can stop the rush and the passing, then we don't have to worry about the backfield so much. But if Rodgers has any kind of time to throw that ball, he's going to chew us up and spit us out. And that will be a long afternoon. That's all I'm saying, because it will be. So the Bears really, they have to force the Packers into making mistakes. I mean, he has 3 interceptions. I like to see him get, hey, by the end of on Sunday, let's say he has a nice round 5, gets 2. I'm predicting 2 interceptions. But the defense and Mac, injury-wise, when I came on the air, you know what? I didn't. They hadn't reported it. I do know that Mac didn't practice again, but he hasn't been practicing. But it's huge. He's got to be in this game. Him and Quinn are so important. If Mac's not in this game, I don't believe we have a chance to win the game because he has to play like he did last week. And Hicks hasn't been playing, and that really hurts because that hurts our running game, and so disappointing. I'm God, I love him, and it's a disappointment. Although having Eddie Goldman back on the line has helped. So, again, simple. Bottom line is the defensive line and the linebackers have to find a way to get in his face all day long. And if they can do that and we can run the ball and keep them off the field, we have a chance. I really do. I mean, I didn't think we were going to win last week. On paper, we didn't have a chance, and we did. And anybody can be beaten on any Sunday. I believe that. I don't care who we are. It can happen. So, and it's time to turn this ship around and start a new era like we did in the the 80s and part of the 90s. We ruled Green Bay, and then it changed over the last 20 years. But it is time for a new era. And I got to tell you what, at that Raiders game, our quarterback field showed me a lot. He is one tough hombre, and he wants to lead this team. If this kid stays healthy, he could be a star in Illinois because, that's the thing about Illinois. We have one football team, and that's the Bears, and we love them. And when somebody's good like that, we put them up on a pedestal. I mean, look at the 85 Bears. They're still on a pedestal with us. I mean, it's kind of sad but true. But Fields could be, if he keeps this up, He'll be in Illinois for a long time, and he'll never have to pay for a meal or a drink, and he's going to be loved. And I think he could be the real deal. I've been really leery about saying that, but I believe it's so. The problem is that I don't think Nagy understands the Bears and Green Bay rivalry. I don't. And I think somebody, maybe an old Bears player or somebody, needs to get into that locker room tomorrow and tell them how important for the Bears and the Bears fans, particularly, that it's time to beat the Packers now. We're tired of the embarrassment. I'm tired of hearing it. It's now or never. And so I called George McCaskey today because, we're tight. And I left a voicemail for him, and I thanked him about offering me tickets for last week's game. I said I already had them, but thank you for remembering me. And then I said to him, and George, I hope you or somebody else or an old ex-player can get in there and explain to Nagy and the Bears the importance of this rivalry, because I've never heard Nagy say anything. Now, maybe he's saying it in Illinois, but I'm not hearing it, okay? So, We really need to get Nagy on board. And I heard Nagy's been, he's such a control freak, and I heard he's been kind of getting on Laser to maybe let him call the plays too. And that can't happen because we saw the last 2 weeks with Laser calling those plays, much different, and it's got to stay that way. And you know what? If I were the Bears organization, I would tell him, you are never calling a play again, period. You're the head coach, not the offensive coordinator. Get over it and wear a real hat. Take that damn visor off. You're embarrassing the Bears organization. And I wanted to bring up something real quick. A lot of people have been bitching about Mac. He should have had 2 sacks last week instead of 1 because he got a sack during the Raiders' 2-point conversion, and they didn't get the 2-point conversion. But apparently, and I read about this, stats like that, sacks, that kind of stuff does not count on extra points. It just doesn't. So, not fair, but that's the NFL. So that's why he didn't get charged, because it's a rule on extra points, and that's considered an extra point. Stats aren't brought into the equation. So, bullshit, but whatever. So I wanted to tell you kind of a funny story, though. I was thinking about it last night. I haven't told a good Lynn story in a while. So back, this has to go with the rivalry of the Bears. So back in 2004, the Bears signed Lovie Smith. We all remember Lovie Smith, right? And the top two first things he said when he got in his press conferences, he said, "Now it's time to beat Green Bay. And that's what I'm here to do, and then take us to a Super Bowl," which he did both, but not that year. But he did Green Bay. So I was like, yes, So then on September 19th, 2004, his first year. Um, with the Bears. We played Green Bay at home, and the Bears won that game 21-10. And I was going crazy at home watching it, and I had a few cocktails, a few beers, and wasn't feeling any pain. And when that game was over, I ran around the house yelling, "We won! We won!" I even went outside on my deck. I'm screaming. I actually met some new neighbors next door to us we hadn't met yet because they're like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "My Bears won! My Bears won!" And I was crazy. And then, of course, I had a few mirrors, and then I said, "I got an idea," to my husband and my son. I said, "This is what we're going to do." I said, "We're going to buy a bunch of T-shirts, and we're going to put on it, 'Lovey is the man beats Green Bay.' And we're going to go down to Soldier Field, the next home game, and we're going to sell those T-shirts, and we're going to make a fortune." And I was going on and on and on. My husband's like, "Okay, honey, whatever you say, whatever." And, he knew full well that wasn't going to happen. That was beer talk. But it was really funny because I was like, "Yes, we're doing this. Lovey, lovey, lovey." So it was pretty funny. But so my point is, and that was really, then it's been kind of not very good after that. So it's time to turn this thing around. I mean it. And, we just need to get a win, and it's possible. It's going to be a tough game. They have to play flawless. They can't have 7 penalties for 80 yards again. It got to be under 5. So again, time of possession, rushing, and defense. We can beat this guy, and I'm sick of him. I am sick of him. I want to get I think I'm going to get a voodoo doll on Sunday and some pins, and I'm going to stick them in there. Actually, and I'm not a proponent of this, but I am this Sunday. I think the Bears, because I don't like penalties, you know that, but I think they should get one good roughing the passer and really give him a boo. I mean, make him feel it. Don't get that roughing the passer when you're down when they're about to score. When they're on our side of the field and we got some time and he seems to be too comfortable, I want one of those guys to give him a hit that it's going to take him a few minutes to get up. I don't want anybody to be seriously hurt. I don't. But I say the Bears need to be like, "Yeah, we're done with this. You are not embarrassing us anymore." And that is the truth. So I say, "Ugh." And then remember, step on his arm and walk away. Take the 15 yards and let him think about it for a little bit. So let's go Bears, man. I hope we win. I'm going to be screaming and yelling on Sunday. Because this is like our Super Bowl this Sunday. So everybody get their gear on. Get their voodoo dolls out. Stick pins in Rogers. Whatever you can do. Curse, do a little. I'm pretty good at putting curses on people, and I always do "I'm watching you." I did it to a taxi driver once. It really freaked him out. It's a long story. I won't go into it, but yeah, he wouldn't give us a ride because my husband had a wheelchair, so he wouldn't do it. And I'm like, that's against the law. So I said, "Hey, you're cursed." And I went like this, "You're cursed." And somebody was going to get into the cab after us, and the wife said, "I'm not getting in that cab. She just cursed that guy." I kid you not, I did do that down in Chicago. So, whatever we could do, let's bring home a win, all right? And then I have a call out for a very, very, very good friend of mine, Peggy. They lost a member of their family this week, so I'm just giving you a call out. I love you, my friend. I'm praying for you. It's always rough to lose a family member, and God be with you, and I'm always thinking about you, and I love you. I love you, Peg. And my friend Peg is an annual. She watches my shows every time, and she's not even a football fan. So rock on, Peg. I'm thinking about you, honey, okay? And my message, let's just be positive. Don't watch news. Don't read the internet. Just be positive. Be kind to one another. humanity is something I think we've lost, and I want it back. It's so important for us to stick together through this. There's just so much crap going on, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. So please, stick together, love one another. You know what? It's just not worth getting pissed. Pick your battles, people, and make it count. And just be kind to each other for me, okay? That's that. Just do it for your announcer, and smile. Whether you got a mask on, people can see. We have to wear masks here, so it's hard, but just smile at people. And at the end of the day, you can lay your head down on the pillow and said, I done good. And that's all that matters. Kindness. And on that note, if we win on Sunday, I promise you, I will have a great parody to the Bears song, touchdown song on Monday. I will not let you down. So for that alone, we got to win, right? All right. I love you guys. Thanks for all the support. Keep on keeping. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I'll see you hopefully on Victory Monday. Oh, bye-bye.